Greetings. Welcome to Limitless Alchemy 808 and Patience. I just wanted to hop on and do a little reflection before I finally go to sleep here. And just share in some energies that have been cycling through the collective lately. And this past weekend, I had a really great time. Got to create many happy imprints with some of my extended family. And it's just been a really insightful weekend. So on Saturday, I went to San Clemente with my sister and my sons, and we just hung out for a couple hours. And my eldest went for a walk on the pier there, and my youngest has been just chomping at the bit to go to the beach. He really is fond of the beach. He has started to actually go in the water, and I had to tell him many times to come back from the break because he's not that tall. He's 8 and he can ride all the rides at Camp Snoopy on his own. But a lot of times people think he's like in first grade and he's gonna be in third, which is fine. We're all growing and evolving in our own time. And each of us is perfect. We are the universe, and the universe is perfect, so we are perfect. But while we were there was a lot of people, and they were gonna have a wedding. I was like, they were getting set up. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. There's just so much love circling around the collective right now. And we didn't stay to watch, but we just saw them setting up. I was like, wow, it's really nice event for those involved. And we had gone to get pizza over there, but it was like an hour wait, so we're like, well, there's other pizza places. Just drive to one. So we drove to like this little restaurant not too far and got some pizza. And I have never had a pizza crust like this before. It reminded me of a pie crust, and it was almost biscuit-like in a way. And I was just like, wow, this is something that I have never experienced before on a pizza. And it wasn't bad, but it wasn't my favorite thing because of the texture. But it's like, you try new things, and even though you know it's best for you, I used to say, sometimes you just don't know until you go. How can you tell? I'm just thinking back to Yo Gabba Gabba when I used to watch with my kids. There's an episode where one of the characters, I think it's Tootie, she doesn't want to try yogurt for her snack. Like, she says she doesn't like yogurt. And the robot Plex, he's like, well, have you ever tried yogurt? And she's like, well, no. And then they break into song, and they tell her, try it, you're gonna like it. And it's like, if you've never experienced something before, those around you have, even though each of us is in our own lived experience. I mean, there's a lot to be said for popularity. There's a lot to be said for consensus, because we are all one. So it's just, before you pass judgment on a certain situation, it's just best to consider it from all sides. And should you feel comfortable to act upon that situation, to try it, I'm more than likely you're gonna like it. And with food and things, our palates change, I believe. Well, our bodies change every 7 years. So our palates will also change. And it's just good to revisit something, because you've grown, because you've evolved. And even if you thought before that that wasn't to your liking, or you just didn't have the palate for it, you never really know what to expect. And it's all in the preparation, it's all in the presentation. With food, we eat with our eyes before we even try something. My youngest is extremely particular, and if he sees something right away, he's just gonna make that judgment call that he doesn't like it, he doesn't want it. I'm like, but have you tried it? And he's like, so he will try it, and a lot of times he's like, no, I don't like it. But sometimes he's like, oh, okay, fine. Just begrudges me, but it's okay, But really, I mean, I make food that sometimes looks very weird, but tastes great. So, like I said, sometimes you just don't know until you go. Just do it. Just try it. And it was just, it was a super long drive out there. I was like, oh, we might as well go to San Diego coming out here. I prefer Laguna. I think Laguna has some of the most lovely beaches that we have in California. I mean, I haven't gone to many beaches in Central California or Northern. I mean, Northern, they're much colder and rockier, I believe. But I did go to Santa Claus Beach. When was that? In January, like right before all the fires in LA. And that beach was nice. There weren't as many shells. I love collecting shells. But it was still a nice beach, but there were like oil rigs maybe 30 feet off the shore. I was just like, wow. Okay, even in a upper crust sort of area as Montecito Heights, the late stages of, capitalism just are everywhere. While I don't begrudge anyone, to make as much money as they want, because we are money, we are the wealth code, we are literally, billions and trillions and gazillions of dollars, decillions of dollars float through us all the time. Because money is just an energy. It's, again, going back to considering situations from all perspectives, and how cause and effect, right? How will each outcome affect everyone involved, affect the environment. And I mean, it was still a lovely time because I don't get to see my sister that much. She's in schooling to become a nurse, and I'm so proud of her. She's doing so awesome. She's literally killing it as a nurse. And I can't wait to go to her graduation. If she has room for me, of course. But on Sunday, well, yesterday, it was an opportunity for going out to Homeland and visiting with my great uncle. He is the last remaining brother of my grandfather, and he's the youngest. I believe we still have one aunt, but I think she lives in Arizona or New Mexico, and she tends to really keep to herself. I just found out that her husband had passed not too long ago, and I otherwise wouldn't have known, but I send her my love and support and healing thoughts right now. And talking with my great uncle, he is my favorite uncle. He was in the military, in the army, I believe, right when he turned 18. He just went into the army. And after that, I mean, he's lived all over and he's gone all over. He's just had so much life experience, and he's been living in Homeland in a house that had belonged to his roommate, and they were very close friends. I can't recall how they met, but Benny was 7 years older than my uncle, and they were just very simpatico, and he took care of her up until her last breath. And I can see how much he misses her and how much her not being here in the physical with him is not eating him up, but it's just sort of not like it's bothering him. And I mean, it has a lot to do with attachment, which I'd love to make a video about very soon, which I will. But for the most part, my uncle keeps a upbeat perspective, and even though he talks shit about everything, you can always count on Uncle Ruben to tell you like it is. And he does have a lot of views that I don't share. I mean, he says he loves Trump, which that's fine, to each their own. I don't hate Trump because I don't hate anybody, but I don't like all the silliness that he's creating right now. And with 4th of July coming up, I feel that he should not be allowed to celebrate because he's literally out here stripping freedoms from millions of people and undercutting the Constitution since he started his second term and final term. And it's like, it's just gonna be a show of hypocrisy, which, I mean, this country is very hypocritical. It's extremely hypocritical because we had gone to eat lunch at Lucille's, I believe it was in Winchester, and on the way back, my eldest and I, my youngest, had rode with my uncle because my youngest cousin, she's only a year older than my youngest son, and they're very close. Like, oh, they love each other so much. So he's always trying to hang out with her in every possible moment. And so my eldest and I were listening in the car to Choking Victim. And there's a song called Praise the Sinners. And in that song, there is a clip. I'm not sure what the show is or anything like that, but there's this man speaking about how the U.S. exerts itself all over the globe. And the example that he used was, I believe, the country of Grenada. And this was around the 1980s because he had mentioned Reagan as the president. And the speaker was saying that the U.S. was going to invade Grenada, not for the product that they were exporting, which was nutmeg, because there's an abundance of nutmeg in Africa. I mean, you can totally go to Africa, get nutmeg, and it's not an issue. But apparently in the country of Grenada, they were creating co-ops and basically communism. And so the U.S. decided to undercut that. And the speaker was saying that it wasn't the product they were creating, it was the fact that they were working to become self-sustainable, and the U.S. wanted to exert authority over that and basically say to them, you know, you have no power, you have no control. And I told my son, I was like, literally, the United States has been an authoritarian country, and we've shown that to the rest of the world for so long that the time has come where we are showing ourselves that this is such the case. And I've known for so long that democracy is an illusion in this country. I'd spoken about when I had worked at election polls before, when my eldest was much younger. And I'll link that video in the description box. And it has, you know, a lot to do with the Electoral College. But there's just been a lot of truths coming to light, and there is a cancer that is eaten away so much of our infrastructure that it is presenting itself in such a way where it's basically it's all encompassed. And there's been just some flare-ups of anxiety and sleeplessness. There's a lot of wakings throughout the night and sleeping, you know, but not feeling rested when waking, because There's so many of us who are overthinking what's going to happen next, what's coming up, how are things going to work out. And it's the duty of the collective to sit in those feelings and analyze them. It's not to analyze them to make them go away or anything like that. Like, we're always so quick to rub the salve on, but we can take a bit more time to sit with those emotions and ask ourselves what they can teach us. And the process of transmutation presents itself in the perfect appointed moment. But as long as you keep focusing on yourself and your preferred reality, you keep focusing on the changes you want to see within yourself, the changes that you want to see in the world are going to show up. They're going to reflect, because it's been so long that we've accepted war, we've accepted authority without question, we've accepted this illusion for so long. I mean, of course, it's the day-to-day, but with all of us coming out of amnesia and realizing that we do have the control, we do have the power, we do have self-sovereignty. It can only change. I mean, there's no other way. There's no other outcome than what you want to happen. And so it is. So I'm getting pretty sleepy now, but I'll see you in the next one. Stay soft, stay sweet, and stay pure. Love yourself. Nighty night.